It's not every day that you get to relive a part of your childhood, especially not in a way that feels wholly authentic while also compensating for the effects of nostalgia. I never actually owned a copy of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 or 2 when I was younger, but I did have access to the demo of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on the original PlayStation, and I remember racking up some serious playtime. Me and my brother would play for hours seeing who could get the very best score, and it didn't really matter that the demo only contained a 2-minute session of a single map. It's all we really needed to have a good time. With the recent release of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remaster, I just knew right away that I had to get my hands on it and make a video, so today we are going to be taking a look at the remaster running completely maxed out at a 1440p resolution on our SAPPHIRE PULSE RX 5600 XT graphics card. Most of the footage that you're going to be seeing has been recorded with a 60Hz VSync enforced and should look incredibly smooth. However, I have also included some footage of the game running completely uncapped so that we can see what the peak performance will be like for those of you running high refresh rate FreeSync enabled displays, but with that said, let's get right to it. Like I've already hinted, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is etched into my memory, and I think that it's safe to say that most gamers that grew up in the late 90s and early noughties either own Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, have played it, or at least have a pretty decent idea of what it's all about. That said, we are talking about a game that released exactly 20 years ago today, so I'm guessing that there's going to be a fairly decent chunk of you that were either too young to have played it, or maybe you'd not even been born yet. So with that in mind, I'm going to attempt to break down the basics for anybody that's new to the series. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 can be pretty much summed up as arcade score attack skateboarding games. They're not trying to be realistic simulations, but rather skateboarding power fantasies. The skaters here are superhuman, able to bend the laws of physics to their will. The ultimate goal, I suppose, is to string together a never-ending combination of tricks in order to increase your multiplier and points in the hopes of posting a high score. The best players that I've seen are able to pull off combos worth hundreds of millions of points. Now, me personally, I'm not really that good, so I'm lucky to be able to pull off combos worth hundreds of thousands of points, never mind millions. Thankfully though, it's not all purely about score attack. Each of the 2 or so dozen maps have a bunch of challenges to pick off, such as collecting items scattered throughout the environment, using certain environmental props in your combos, reaching certain score milestones, and much more. While fairly simple, these objectives do a good job of keeping you busy while also providing you something to work towards as you slowly get more comfortable with the controls and learn better combos. At its most basic, you can grind, ollie, grab, and flip. However, each of these moves can be combined together and also with the environment in order to pull off some crazy high scoring tricks. In many ways, the game plays more like a fighting game than anything else, cause pulling off complex tricks is like pulling off a fatality in Mortal Kombat or juggling an opponent in Street Fighter. It requires lots of well-timed inputs and heaps of situational awareness if you hope to avoid bailing. It's a simple concept, but thankfully one that does have enough depth to reward mastery, that is, providing that you're the kind of person that can motivate themselves to want to improve, as there's not really too much going on in terms of extrinsic rewards. If you don't get that warm, satisfied feeling when, for instance, setting a new PB or mastering a new skill, then this game may be not for you. You see, once you've completed each stage, which really doesn't take that long, you're basically left to your own devices borrowing the skate park editor and leaderboards. Actually, on the topic of leaderboards, let's quickly talk about the one issue that I personally do have with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and that is that some people are just far too good. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that this is totally my own problem, but please, just hear me out. The original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games released in a time where online play, leaderboards, and YouTube were pretty much just pipe dreams. All you really needed to concern yourself with was your own ability and maybe the ability of your friends because you played these games in vacuums. These days, however, you are never more than a few clicks away from comparing yourself to, well, everybody, and you're never more than a few clicks away from dozens of tutorials and guides, and you are never more than a few clicks away from feeling overwhelmed and inadequate. Seeing what the best players in the world can do doesn't inspire me, it actually just leaves me feeling rather disheartened. Not because I can't imagine getting to that level myself, but because I just simply don't see the point in doing so. To put this into perspective, I'm not exaggerating when I say that there's people right now here on YouTube uploading videos where they get 10 times more points in a single 2-minute session than I've been able to rack up in over 12 hours of play. And that's by no means a dig at anybody that's currently fighting their way up the leaderboards or is really enjoying the grind, no pun intended. I actually have tons of respect for anybody that can invest time and effort into mastering any new skill in life, be that rocket science or video games. I'm simply trying to point out that there's probably a very good reason why developers and publishers generally don't make games like this anymore. Not because they're bad games, heck, I would even go as far to say that this Tony Hawk's Remaster is, on merit, one of the very best games released so far this year. It's just built upon an outdated foundation that I don't believe is going to appeal to most gamers. To be honest, I actually feel super awkward saying that because I'm not lying when I say that this is without a doubt one of the very best games released so far in 2020, and one of the best remasters of any game ever. I'd even go as far to say that this is a game that everybody should have in their games library, that is, providing that you can pick it up on a decent discount. On the other hand, if you've got nostalgia for the series, love skateboarding in general, or are the kind of person that's motivated to master games that they play, then what are you waiting for? You should already have this game installed. When it comes to the differences between the remaster and the originals, most of the changes are extremely positive, such as the addition of reverts and manuals to the moveset, allowing you to chain together multiple big combos which would have been broken up in the originals, and the developers have even included the option to disable many, if not all of these changes, so if you're after a more authentic Pro Skater experience, the devs do have you covered. Presentation wise, the remaster both looks and sounds great while also performing incredibly well. Our SAPPHIRE PULSE RX 5600 XT graphics card can easily run the game completely maxed out at a 1440p resolution without ever fluctuating from a solid 60Hz VSync. When running without VSync, we're looking at an average frame rate somewhere between 100 and 140 frames per second, depending on the map. Now, due to the way that the camera works and the type of game that this is, I seriously recommend that unless you are running a high refresh rate FreeSync enabled monitor, you simply stick to a 60Hz VSync. Without proper sync, this game can feel incredibly janky and much more difficult to play. To be clear, this is not something that the game is doing wrong, it's just simply a side effect of combining extremely smooth and extremely quick camera motion with inconsistent frame times, something that really can't be avoided in this case. But with all that said, that is once again going to be me done for today, so thank you so much for stopping by and watching. If you are new around here, how about you slap that subscribe button and ding that bell so you'll get notified when we upload videos in future. If it's not too much to ask, leaving us a like on this video would also be greatly appreciated. If you've got any questions, suggestions or feedback, you can let us know by leaving us a comment down below, but once again from myself and everybody here at the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we'll catch you later, bye bye.